Oh, yeah. Wind your own secondary, they said. It'll be easy, they said. It'll be fun, they said. Yeah, this is a family-friendly show, so I said all my bad words off camera. Okay, so we are finally back on this Tesla coil build. I got the controller mounted. I've got those feedback coils wired in. I've got the gate drive transformer wired in. I've got the power supply coming from the 20 volt AC transformer right over there. I got that wired in. I've got my line going to my interrupter wired in. This, as far as I know, is all done. All I need is the secondary, which you saw the mess of that, and we'll get back to that and exactly what happened. I also got another fan right back there mounted. Sorry for the horrible lighting. I'm in the other end of my shop where I have more room, and as you can see, I'm just working off the floor. And I just want to show you a couple of things, powering it up and showing you what it does. I've got a voltmeter here. I'll set that on volts DC. Yeah, volts DC. But I got to get my eyes to cooperate there. So we've got that set. And that is connected to the capacitor. You can't see in there at all. My two big capacitors are right in there. So I've got on each end, there's one end to the positive of the big capacitor. Of course, the capacitors are wired in series, so the other wire is going to the other side. So this is my big capacitor bank there. And let me see if I can plug this in one-handed. And we get the cooling fans, we get the lights. Now the fault light is on, but that goes away as soon as I push that button, which I'll do here in a second. I don't know if that's normal or not. And if you look at the voltmeter, I've got 315 volts. So I'm getting, now I watched a YouTube video of Eastern Voltage Research doing their first power up test just the way I'm doing right now. And they got about 320 volts. And when I did this earlier, I got 320 volts. I'm not sure I'm only getting 315 now. But yeah, it's 5 volts, 5 volts. Holy crap, that was bad. Something blew. That's not good. What the heck? I don't know if the camera picked that up or not, but I got a flash, a loud bang, and sparks flying off that way. So I got to find out what the heck that was. That sucks. That sounded expensive. My voltage is back down to 0. And the flash was off that side. So let's see. I'm going to, yeah, sorry, you couldn't even see anything. I'm going to investigate further. I'll get back with you when I find out what exploded. That is absolutely bizarre. I could not find any damage at all, nothing. So I plugged it back in. I'm still getting 315. It was 318 when I looked at it a minute ago. So I'm still getting 315 volts. And there's no smoke. Both fans are running. No smoke, no popping. I mean, today is the 4th of July. Maybe I was just trying to celebrate. I have no clue. I'm going to do something potentially really stupid. I'm going to push that button. See how the red light is off right now? When I push the button, you get the blue signal and the red. Then the red goes away. Now, as far as I know, that red only comes on for an under voltage cutout or an over current cutout. And I know I had my under voltage set properly. Over current was kind of a guess, but I'm not even really pulling any current right now. So I don't know why it's doing that. If any of you know, please let me know if that's normal or not. Now I had this plugged in just like it is now, earlier today and yesterday, and it was doing the exact same thing, but no arcing or popping or snapping or anything like that. So I have no idea what that was. That's bizarre. I'll do a better inspection later, but I looked it over very well, and I didn't see anything. But before it completely explodes, I'm going to unplug it. And yeah, you can see the voltage is dropping down. So the capacitors are still working. The crowbar circuit with the drop-down resistor is still working. I looked all the way around this thing. I looked at all of those capacitors up in there. I looked at everything all around it. I saw nothing. I have no idea. That's the most bizarre thing. If I ever find it, I'll make sure I'll let you know. But let's take a look at the mess of a secondary that I've got going on. Okay, so I've got it set up on the lathe, and now I did try doing it like with the lathe turning. You know, I started with about 1/4 of an inch, like width, you know, by hand, and then I had it on the slowest speed and back gear, so it's like really slow, and I would turn it on. Yeah, that stupid switch. I need a new switch in that light. And I would turn on the lathe, and it would go fine for 15 or 20 turns, and then it would just get all off, or it'd start overlapping the wrong way, so I'd have to stop and fix it. And after 2 or 3 times of that, I said, screw it, I'm just going to do it by hand. And everything was going fine until I got a big snag in there. And I don't know if I can show it very clear or not, but those wires somehow got all twisted up around on top of each other, and you can kind of see it like right in there. The only thing I can think of is when they were winding that at the factory, like it got slack and balled up and flipped over the edge of the spool, and whoever noticed it just kind of balled it up and put it back around and just kept winding again without actually fixing it, and then they sold it to me. This is my kind of luck. I bet they've sold 1 million of those spools, and that's the only one that's messed up. So if you are the one who wound that, and I'm talking to you, Mr. Spool Winder, at, and I can't read that, Remington Electronics. If you're the one who wound that, I want an apology, and I'm only halfway joking. So you can go ahead and leave it in the comments. And I don't even care if it could be your supervisor. I don't care. Your supervisor can leave me an apology, or the secretary. I don't care. The janitor, somebody that works there. Just, you know, give me an apology in the comments, and we'll just kind of go on from there. But seriously, that sucks. So what I have to do, I found a loose end that I can unspiral or unwind here. So I can unwind it and get a big loop here, and then I can pull this one, and that pulls it through, and then I can pull this other loop, and that pulls it from here. Then I can pull it off from there and just loosely wrap it around here. Eventually, I'm going to get to the spot where it's all twisted and tangled, and then I'll be able to untwist it and untangle it. And then I'll rewrap all of this back onto here and then just keep on going. And the entire time, like from the moment I started here, my biggest concern was I was going to break the wire. And I actually cut a little piece just to break it, just to see how hard it is to break. And it's not hard. You can break that very easily. So I was very careful and conscious about pulling too hard on this. And I'm actually very fortunate I was not running the lathe when that snag happened, or it probably would have snapped right off and broke. And because what I was doing, I had that spool on this rod just setting down here, so it was kind of just turning, and I was guiding it on with my thumb, so with my left thumb guiding it on and my right hand rolling it on, and I noticed it just started picking the spool up, and I'm like, what the heck? And I noticed it was like all knotted up. So I spent, like I said, about an hour and a half trying to fix the rat's nest in here, and I'll get it eventually. And I've gone back and forth about 3 or 4 times now by hand from here, and but eventually I'll get to where it's twisted around weird, and I'll be able to fix that. The only other thought is just scrap it and start all over again, but I'm not sure how much I have left on here. I asked the guys at Eastern Voltage Research how much wire I needed to order. He said order a 2-pound spool. So that's what I did. I got a 2-pound spool, and I don't know if that's just enough, or if when I'm done I'm going to have 1.5 pounds left over. I have no clue. I have no idea. So if I just scrap all of that and start all over, I would probably have enough to do it, but I'm not positive. And plus, I really don't want to redo all that. I mean, if it would have happened like here, then yeah, it'd be a no-brainer. But I'm like 1/3 of the way done. I'm just going to go right there. I'm like 1/3 of the way done. And just the thought of scrapping all that and starting over just kind of sucks. So I was really hoping to save it. If I can save it, like I said, I'm going to re-wrap all of that onto here and then start wrapping for real. I'm sure I'll have a lot of little kinks and cosmetic issues in there, but I think it's better than starting over and risking not having enough. Plus, there could be another snag in there. So what if I cut it and start all over and have another snag? So, yeah. You guys, apologize. Or give me a refund or something. And just curious, if any of you have had this issue, let me know in the comments. Don't you hate it when YouTubers beg for comments? Actually, this is pretty much all I wanted to show you now. I wanted this to be a quick, short video, just a short update. However, I do want to talk about the controller, and I still need help with the controller. So let's go take a look at that real quick. Okay, so again, sorry for the horrible lighting. But a viewer commented several videos ago, because I was asking about controllers. Why are you not focusing? Okay. So I had a question about controllers on if I should buy the $350 one from Eastern Voltage Research. And somebody commented and said he had a spare one of these he would send me for free, and no strings attached. And I was extremely grateful, and that's what this one is. And I was extremely grateful, I still am. And he and I had emailed back and forth quite a bit, because I had a lot of questions about this, and I still do. And he was very patient and replying back and helping. And then all of a sudden, he just quit. He just quit. So I hope he's okay. You know, I'd hate to think that something bad happened if he got sick, or, you know, who knows. I mean, because he was being very, very helpful and very patient with me, and me not being able to understand this. But if he's okay, then that means he just got tired of me. And you know, it's like I would ask a question, but he wouldn't explain it to my dummy level, you know? I'm sure he explained it perfectly fine to someone who was knowledgeable, maybe between me and his knowledge, but he wasn't dumbing it down enough. And I kept asking questions, and then he stopped. So, if any of you are familiar with this, I already asked about the red light being on and off when I'm testing it. These are the instructions I have, and I've gone through this multiple times, and most of it makes sense. But the easy stuff he explains in great detail. The stuff I'm having a hard time with, they're really vague on. And I have questions about different things here. And so if any of you know how to explain this to like a 5-year-old, pretend I'm a 5-year-old and you have to explain it to me. Like, I need to know, like, exactly where do I put my meter. Now, checking the voltage across a cap, I mean, stuff like that is easy. I get some of it. It's like half of it I get, actually about 75% of it I get, but the 25% that I don't get is probably some of the more important stuff, like adjusting the inductor there. I'm really struggling with understanding where to set up the oscilloscope to adjust that. This is giving me photos on what to look for, but some of the language I use in here is just over my head, and I don't understand. And that's where the other guy was having a hard time explaining to me. So I need somebody who's capable of explaining this to a 5-year-old, like exactly step 1, put this probe here, step 2, put this probe here, step 3. That's kind of what I need for this. So if you're that kind of person who has endless patience, hook me up in the comments, and I'll tell you how you can get a hold of me, and we can email back and forth there. I'm tempted to just, like, as soon as I finish that secondary, just put it on and turn it on and see what it does. That's what I'm tempted to do. If I can't get any really good help, that's probably what I will do. Now, as far as I know, the inductor is the correct one. I forget the value of it, but I think it's the correct one that should be there. And I have the little adjustment about halfway in the middle. And I do have access to an oscilloscope at work. I just have to borrow it from work. And one of my concerns is that oscilloscope is not cheap, and I don't want to fry it. And I want to be very clear about the steps so I don't connect it wrong and fry my works oscilloscope. That would be bad. So that's my biggest concern, is damaging the scope. So anyways, I'm going to end the video here. So just so you guys know, I am still working on it, obviously. This part here is done, unless something exploded. I'll still keep looking for it. That was just weird. Maybe a spider crawled across some contacts. Maybe that was a spider that blew across my shop. I don't know. I'll keep looking. So hopefully this is good. And I got the secondary in work. The toroid, I'm just going to make a cheap toroid. I've seen a few YouTube videos on how to make cheap toroids out of dryer ducting and aluminum tape. And if it all works, then I'll probably buy an actual real toroid, but they're like $200 or $300. But anyways, like I said, if you know how to explain that, let me know. I'm rambling, so I'm going to just shut up now and let you guys get back to watching something more entertaining. And until next time, as always, thanks for watching.